Hello everyone. So in this video, we're going to be doing a simple weekend project using the Raspberry Pi. It's going to be a nightlight that has some times where you can, it's basically a scheduled nightlight. So you can set up whatever time you want it to come on and then turn off. So basically like whenever is like your sleeping time, um, it's basically like a manual setup. There are night lights where there are there's a astronomical time clock associated with it. But this is just basically, like maybe from midnight to 6 a.m. or 5 a.m. You could have the night light on. And this is using a Raspberry Pi, which is a single board computer. You can upload Python scripts on there, C programs. In this case, we're going to be doing a Python program. In particular, we are going to be focusing on using the GPIO 0 package. This package is already included with the operating system that is on the Raspberry Pi. So let's just open this up. This has a few examples on how to get set up with talking to the GPIO pins. And yeah, so this is basically you can just copy this into a script. In our case, we're using Sublime text. And connect up, you can put in a GPIO pin and then give it on-off commands, which is basically what we're going to be doing. We're going to determine here which GPIO pins we're going to be using. So here's a pinout with the official website for Raspberry Pi. We have GPIO pins. We're going to be using 17, 27, and 22, which are associated with these pins on the 40-pin header, pins 11, 13, and 15. Note that the pin numbers are not associated with the GPIO numbers. They're a bit random, and some of the GPIO pins double up as being other things as well. In particular, these ones, SDA and SCL, the I2C lines. In particular, if you use these, this could be a good testing point. So if you go and reboot the Pi, if you have anything associated with these will, any LEDs that are connected up to here will be on during the time that the Raspberry Pi is rebooting. So this could be a good debugging thing if you wanted to connect LEDs up to these GPIO pins. Although it may not be the best, it might be better to just pick in the example it had 17 because it didn't have anything else associated with it. So 17, 27, 22, 5, 6, 16, 23, 24, and 25 might be the better choices since they don't have any other thing associated with them. The other thing to keep in mind when connecting up LEDs and resistors, current limiting resistor, is knowing which resistor to use. The max current, it's important to know that how much current each GPIO pin can provide, and in the documentation it says approximately 3 milliamps per GPIO pin. So that's very important to keep in mind. You don't want to damage your Raspberry Pi. So here's a setup. Here basically we have the GPIO pins 11, 13, and 15, and then a GPIO pin 9 is, if you look back on the pinout, 9 is ground. Those three are all connected to ground. The other thing to keep in mind, the negative side of the LEDs, the flat side, is going to be, it's going to be the shorter leg of the LED. And the side, it's like a little bit flattened on that side. So if you can kind of feel it with your finger once you go and breadboard it. Here are some current readings this is the white LED. We're getting around 0.6 milliamps. So this is the current draw when basically we give the on command. And here's the amber LED, which was, this one got a 1.3 milliamp current draw. So now we're going to be going and looking at our code in Sublime Text. Right now, so basically these are the Gpio pins set up here. Just kind of following the example from GPIO 0, the documentation. We have a few variables defined here. Mainly we have the army time values. So switch on at 0, which is at midnight. And then switch off at 5 a.m. So just keep in mind that everything is in army time when you're looking at hours. So we have an infinite loop here. So this is always being evaluated. We have the current time, which is the hour, and the minute as well. So what we're going to do now is, and this is basically saying that anytime between midnight and right before 6 a.m., because we're doing less than or equal to 5, give the on command to the 3 LEDs that are going to be breadboarded. And anytime else, you just give the off command, and this will be continuously running. Later on, I will explain how to put this script so that it's continuously running on your Raspberry Pi. You don't have to go and just run it one time. So we're going to make just a quick update. Right now, the time is 10:36. We're going to make an update here. Just a quick update. So let's say here, if hour equals 22, which is army time for 10 o'clock at night, and minute equals, we'll do 39. So that gives us some time. So we can go and this has been saved. We'll go and connect to our Raspberry Pi via FTP. And then we'll do a refresh. So we did a refresh on this one. And we'll upload, and then go in here. So we're gonna connect via SSH, secure shell, and then we're gonna do a reboot. So anytime you do an update to your Raspberry Pi via like an update to your script, you need to reboot your Raspberry Pi so that it takes in effect the script. So let's see here. So now I'm going to, right now it's 10:38. So I'm gonna go and let me share my video here. So this is the Raspberry Pi. And this is, here we go. We have 3 LEDs and the resistors, and then the 4 wires coming. This is the Raspberry Pi. And we have basically the breadboard is following the circuit that was explained earlier, the schematic here. So right now it's 10:38. So now, yeah, see these LEDs came on 10:39, and then they'll stay on for that 1 minute. So we're just looking at 10:39 in particular. And yeah, so take a look here. So this is the amber in the middle, and then these 2 white ones. You did notice that like the white LEDs do take less of a current draw than the amber one, and they are a bit brighter. I don't know if it's if it can be seen on in the video or not. So, and then when it's 10:40, it will basically, the LEDs will turn off. So that's our simple test to just see that we're getting the on-off working correctly. So let's see. Yep, and then 1040, and then, yep. So it's off. Yeah. Can go here. And the next thing is, how do we make our script? So once we have our script loaded on, how do we make it so that it's running continuously? So basically, what we're gonna do is we have to edit our rc.local file. So we'll copy this, and then once we connect, let's reconnect to our Raspberry Pi. And do here, do a paste. And I already put on here what we need to put. So Python 3, the absolute address. So like where is it stored? So you need to include, and here's an example too, like you need to include this home and pi and then where your script is. And then don't forget to put a space and an ampersand. So once you have that, then your script will be continuously running. So get out of this one. And then next thing, here's just a setup, quick set, like here's a picture at nighttime. And then if you do want to make time adjustments, just make your changes to your script, upload them via FTP, and then do a reboot. So sudo reboot, and then the changes will be implemented. Hope you enjoyed this simple, very simple time-based nightlight. Any comment suggestions were really helpful. Very simple to implement. It's also, I hope it's kind of fun. You find it fun to do. Just something useful. Creating something useful and learning something a little bit more about Python and also how the Raspberry Pi works as well. Thank you, and see you in the next video.